Thank you, Brother Carlo, not to sa prayer. And tunay nga na the Converge is very helpful in our ministry. And before mag-report o mag-present no yung ECC, I want to invite muna si Pastor Alvan no na may ipa-play yatang video about the Converge.
Not really, just to introduce. Just want to ask who are first time to join our regular Zoom. Just raise your virtual hand kung first time nyo mag-join. I know Genrev, matagal na to na sumasama. But anybody new to Converge? 2 participants raised their hands. Okay. Again, very much you're welcome. So Converge is just a welcome. It's mainly the every community of Christ, for Christ. No? But welcome po kayo. And really, it's a gathering of youth leaders, not just in the Philippines, but worldwide. So actually, Colin Piper here is our man when it comes to the Converge. So ask him anything. But we've been gathering as youth leaders since the start of the pandemic last year. I think it was like we've been meeting regularly for 14 months now, as in monthly, aside from the special events that we host. So it's been a really good time, no? Yung iba dito hindi ko pa talaga na-meet physically, and yet I think it's mas marami pa tayong times nag-meet sa pandemic than if we were close by one another. But yeah, it's so we want to see where this goes, even during this pandemic, but even after. Allow me to play another video from one of our partners, and this is from the Nazarene. Let me see. And 1 hour pala to, bro. I think maybe this is, I thought it was like 2 minutes, but it's like 1 hour. So maybe we'll do that later. So ayan po, no? But again, welcome everybody. And it's really, yun po, it's not just about one ministry, I would say, but really all of you are more than welcome to come and contribute to all the things that are happening. Okay, siguro wag na natin patagalin, no? Let's go to the main portion of this event. We have the Every Community for Christ, Philippines. Debbie, I think, was like at the very start of the Converge last year. She's been joining regularly na. So we really want to hear more about, and there's been a lot of ministries being presented. We want to know more about Every Community for Christ and how we can, be a part of that. So without further ado, I'll give this to Debbie Galzote and her team.
Thank you, Kuya Alvan. Good afternoon po. Oh, I forgot, Colin is here with us. Good thing I've written my script in English. But it's a privilege to be here and present to you what Every Community for Christ has been doing. So today, my team and I will present an overview of our organization, the Every Community for Christ Philippines. But it's just like bits and pieces of it, because I cannot really present the totality of what we're doing right now. So let me start with a little bit of my story. I was born in a Christian family. My parents are both missionaries. My father is a pastor and my mother is a Bible college teacher. So they served in global saturation for 4 years, but now they pastor a church here in Tarlac and connect with different organizations through ECC Philippines as well. By the way, my older sister, Abby, is also part of ECC Philippines as the National Training Coordinator. So literally, buong pamilya mo kaming nasa ECC. So I've been to parts of the Philippines growing up, and it's a privilege to travel to some countries in Asia as well. And it was an exciting and sometimes challenging childhood because I get to change schools a lot and leave my friends and start another season of life. Yet, this kind of life slowly grew my passion for the ministry, my calling, my vision, and myself even as a person. As I get to know and experience the different cultures and encounter different people and different walks of life. I first encountered campus ministry when I was in high school in Baguio City. I was fourth year high school. See, I'm like everywhere. We have youth Bible studies at church. Pero nakita ko that day yung president ng classroom namin. Nagba-Bible study sila. I believe I asked him the question, paano sila nag-start? And sabi ng president namin, si Charleston, naalala ko pa yung pangalan niya, it's from the crew. It's the initiative of the crew, or then it's Campus Crusade for Christ. So I wondered why, as a Christian, who grew up in a Christian family, bakit hindi ko nagagawa yon? So I was challenged. I started sharing Jesus with my friends at that point. So until now, friends ko pa din sila. One of them ay ikakasal na sa November sa Baguio. I hope I can attend. Hindi yun si ER ah. In college naman, niyaya ako ng youth pastor ko. I was invited by my youth pastor to join her in a high school sa Quezon City. There you go again. I transferred school again. And there, I was exposed to another phase or itsura ng campus ministry kasi it's part of the values education curriculum. I've done that for almost 2 years. I graduated and served as a youth coordinator, and I also worked as a registrar in a Bible college for almost 5 years. I felt God is calling me to full-time in campus ministry. So then I accepted the opportunity to study in a university in La Union and start a campus ministry. So we started in just one department, and then we grew up and nag-start na rin kami sa, one college muna and then department. Baliktad. Department muna because Bachelor of Secondary Education, my elementary education and industrial education. So sa secondary education muna kami nag-start, and then elementary education, and then industrial education. And then hanggang sa yung buong technical education na college ang part na ng campus ministry namin until our organization has been recognized university-wide. And we call that Shub the Alchemist. Shub is a Hebrew word. It means to turn away, and alchemist is transformation. So it wasn't an easy journey until today. We also struggled meeting, especially sa pandemic. I've always loved reaching out to students, coaching them, leading a Bible study, life on life, and I trusted the Lord to lead me, and He entrusted me with a team. So sila po yung kasama ko ngayong hapon, where I served as the National Campus Coordinator of Every Community for Christ Philippines. So Every Community for Christ Philippines is the church multiplication catalyst of One Mission Society, serving through biblically based teams in more than 50 countries. These teams work within the context of partnership with denominations or church associations to start church planting movements to grow healthy churches that will multiply. These joint ventures are committed to train the trainers in 12 church multiplication principles in the 4 levels of church planting, namely pioneer evangelism, church planting, church multiplication, and saturation church planting. So, every Community for Christ Philippines nawala yung slide ko. Nawala yung slide. Yung kanina po, yung Every Community for Christ in general or international, yun yung Facebook page nila if you want to check that out. At my Facebook page din, ang Every Community for Christ Philippines. 2 years ago, we registered sa SEC. So, our mission is, mukhang nagloloko yung PowerPoint, but I'll just continue. Our mission is ECC-Philippines work alongside churches, ministry partners, and organizations by providing vision casting, training, coaching, prayer support, encouragement, and accountability in the area of church multiplication and saturation. Our vision is to see church planted in every sitio, porok, zone, so that every man, woman, child, boy, or girl will have the opportunity to hear, understand, and respond to the gospel of Jesus Christ through the witness of every local church planted. So we have ministries for children, campus, young professional, the community, and special ministries, which includes prison and government offices. We also have multiple resources that we use to train our partner churches. Train and multiply booklets. If we can show that, Carlo. We have train and multiply booklets in booklet form, not that, the booklet form. Yan. But in the first level of training, pinagsama-sama po namin sila and created a book, which is the first picture. Yan, nandyan na po lahat. That's the English version. Yung Tagalog naka-booklet pa po siya, wala pa siyang book. Ayan. So kasama po ng book na yan, it's coupled with a workbook, which is in the next picture, na ginagamit for training, especially those who wanted to start a church planting or a church sa kanila pong sitio or barangay, and even sa campuses. So we also have student activity guide. It's a set of lessons. Makikita mo dyan kung what do you need, kung yung grupo mo ba kailangan ng matuto about fasting. So hanapin mo dyan, saan yung mga resources for fasting. Kung prayer, meron. So, a Lord's Supper, ganon. So, may 66 booklets po ang Train and Multiply. Isa nga po dun yung mga sinabi ko kanina, like how to be a cheerful giver, paano mo turuan yung mga members mo sa group or worshiping group to tithe, to give, mga ganon. And it's happening mostly sa worshiping groups or sa house churches or small groups. And we also have generational mapping coaching tool. We used to gauge that pages 1 to 4. We'll learn more about that. Na-explain po sa atin ni Juvie mamaya because she's the campus GMCT encoder. So that's been used. We've been using that to gauge if the small group is healthy or not, if we are growing or not. So mamaya po explain pa yan more ni Juvie. And then we also have a planner. Ayan, hindi ko na po pinicturan. Ito na, planner. Ayan. We used by ECC Philippines Workforce for vision casting kasi nandito na po yung mga like information, like yung mapa ng Leyte, Samar, mga ganon. The vision of the one project, the ECC Philippines, nandito na rin po yung mga ibang resources. So, planner siya, but nandyan na rin po yung mga kailangan ng person if we are the ECC worker, if he wants to cast the vision in other places. So, church multiplication. In 2017, Every Community for Christ Philippines launched the One Project. The One Project, or TJP, is a vision of saturation, a community and campus project of transformation for everyone, stated in our vision. In five geographical locations, we adopted 5, namely Tarlac, Pangasinan, Aurora, Samar, and Leyte. But not limited to. Kasi yung mga taga-Aurora po, they reached out even sa mga taga Nueva Ecija. So, nag-start sa Aurora pero nag-go beyond sila dun sa probinsya nila. So, ganun po. And then this year, we have added to our list the Calabarzon area, which is the Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, and Quezon, La Union, and Zambales. But this year, we will focus on the three first, Zambales, La Union, and Quezon. But again, not limited to. So what have we used for that we consider the keys to multiplication? First, I want to give like a brief background kung bakit nakikita niyo pong red sa taas na logo. It's the J. Yan. The J for Juan is a symbol of a praying person because this vision of saturation is a result of prayer. It emphasizes how prayer is vital of this project from the beginning. The head of the praying person has a triangle on top. It symbolizes both the salakot or Filipino traditional hat, the signature of Juan de la Cruz, representing every Filipino, and the roof of a kubo or a Filipino traditional house for simplicity of churches that worshiping groups can be held in houses or simple churches. Nandito na ba si Tin? Okay. Our prayer coordinator should be presenting about the prayer, but I guess galing pa siya ng school. She's a teacher kasi. Sabi niya 4:20 pero wala pa siya. But I'll just briefly share. Baka mamaya i-share niya na lang yung story niya kasi magte-testimony dapat siya. But prayer first. The first key is prayer. Prayer fervently is one of the 12 church multiplication principles found in the Church Planting Guide booklet, another resource that we have. It states there what to pray for, who prays, when, and how. Yeah. Next is vision. A clear vision gives us a filter through which we can run every idea, opportunity, and decision. Relationship is the basis of our partnership, coaching, coming alongside others, accountability, and others. Strategy, multiplying leaders in different levels of leadership in a movement of church multiplication. So let me just share a little bit of our structure. Sige, Carlo. The levels of leadership. So who are we working with? So ito po yung mga levels of leadership in church multiplication that we work with. The level 5 is the church planting movement catalyst. Level 4 is the church multiplication facilitator, which my team falls here. Dito po. And then church planting multiplier, church planter, and then seed sower. So this is another trainee, and then I cannot explain this everything, but it looked like that. And then next, this is how our organization looks like. It's not hierarchical, it's linear. So we have the board of trustees. We also work with global CMF and ECMF. CMF is the church multiplication facilitator, and ECMF is the Associate Church Multiplication Facilitator. So national team, this is where I belong. And if you look at the arrow where it's pointing, it's working in different areas and levels of leadership. So hindi porket nandito ka na, hindi mo na nakikita yung mga seed sowers o yung mga nandito or disciples. So we get to travel a lot when wala pa pong pandemic. Pero ngayon, we get to meet a lot on Zoom. Hindi na uubos ang meeting sa Zoom every day because we want to maintain this kind of relationship amongst us. So, na-mention ko po before sa inyo that our country coordinator suddenly passed away last year, December. And it was very sudden because we are in a transition period. Kakapalit lang po niya as the leader. So, our first, the country coordinator served for almost 10 years, and then Yung last year po na namatay naming national coordinators been serving ECC for like 2 years pa lang, almost 2 years. So it's a sudden change, but it paved the way for us to evaluate the leadership because we believe in shared leadership. We don't believe in just one person leading or serving. And nasa kanya lahat yung burden. Ayun, parang si Joshua lang, no? When Moses has died, di ba? Sabi niya, be strong and courageous. So take this team, these people, and cross. So parang ganun po yung na-feel namin at that time. And then these are the national team is working with the district church multiplication facilitators. They fall in the level 4. And then the national team also works with the CMS, which involves the level 4 and level 3. Nandito po yung mga kasama ko ngayon. Yung campus, community. So may different po. May campus na CMS, may community na CMS, may network na CMS. Kung denomination sila, they work as a denomination, they will be called network CMS. Kasi isang buong network po sila. We also have support team and partners. Ito po yung mga nakaka-partner po namin. For almost more than 30 years, every Community for Christ only works with one denomination, and that's Faith Evangelical Church of the Philippines, or ECC-Ph. But just in 2017, we felt that it's too big not to share. So we were given permission from our leaders to share this vision of saturation, and thankfully now we have more than 70 partner churches here in the Philippines. And then, sige, let's move forward. Trainings. Okay. So, pinakita ko po kanina, I've shown you the levels of leadership. Now, tignan natin kung ano po yung training na binibigay sa mga leadership or sa mga levels ng leadership. May tanong dito. Mamaya po sagutin. Pero, appropriate naman. One project falls under ECC. Yes po, it's the project of ECC for church multiplication and saturation. But nag-overlap po yun. Pinapakilala kami minsan, tinatawagan ko na po yung The One Project team. Ganun po. Tinatawagan ko na po ang ECC team. So, hindi na nila alam. But The One Project is a project. Ayan. Kaya it's a 10-year project of church planting and saturation po. Ayan. So, these are the levels of leadership and the training na para po sa kanila. So, sige, Carlo. Bakit inverted? Sorry. Bakit inverted pala? Sige. But inverted? Kasi dito sa, taas mo muna, Carlo. Balik mo na sandali. Pala. Dito po, marami ang seed sowers. Marami yung mag-share. Sige, share lang tayo ng share. Mass evangelism, ganyan. Marami yan. Hanggang tumataas na sa levels of leadership, kumukonti na yung tao na nagli-lead. Kaya po siya ganyan. And then, next. Ito po yung mga trainings available for level 1, train and multiply launch. For level 2, train and multiply develop. For level 3, coaching, interactive adult learning, facilitation skills, and curriculum design. Level 4, ganun din po. And then level 5, roles of church multiplication facilitator. Yan po yung mga counterpart na training. And then, paano po yung relationship ng bawat isa? We always compare it to the railroad pala. Ayan. So, multiplication of leaders in all levels. The things you have heard me say in the presence of many witnesses and trusted, reliable people will also be qualified to each other. So, yung railroad po, ang liit ng picture. Ito pong isang niya, if you can see, nakalagay dyan, home study, and yung isa is pastoral work. So, home study is yung personal study mo, and then pastoral work is yung when you go out, do your thing. And ito pong mga nasa gitna, na parang stairs. ito po yung meeting with the leader or coaching session with your immediate coach. Ayan, ganito po yung itsura niya. Sige, Carlo, okay na. Parang nahihilo yata yung PowerPoint. Okay lang ba tayo? Ayan. Okay lang ba tayo? Next. Okay, sige. Next, okay. So for coaching po for multiplication, pag nagkaroon po ng session 1, what we have realized is dati po kasi nagdidiretso kami ng training nung wala pang pandemic. Like 3-day training, ganon, 4-day training. And we have discovered na parang medyo sayang yung effort because parang it's too much information at nahihirapan mag-apply yung mga na-train. So what we did is nagkaroon po kami ng interval. So we offer it like 1 session a week. So ano yung gagawin ng mga na-train during the week? It's paano po nila i-apply. So may mga assignment po doon kung paano nila i-apply. So katulad po nito, the facilitators will coach yung mga participants who have attended or magpapa-assignment po sila. And then before po tayo magkaroon ng session 2. And then again, application, and then session 3. So we've realized na mas malaki po ang result na nagawa nito sa church multiplication. So here are some stories that can attest or testify yung kabutihan ng Panginoon kung paano niya ginamit ang training na to. So it all started in last year nga, pandemic, June 2020. And a group of pastors gathered. They felt the need to meet. So nagkaroon po ng training. And then they were challenged to open new worshiping groups kasi nga po hindi pwedeng mag-gather ng malakihan or pangmasa. Diba? So they were challenged to open new worshiping groups in different places in Tarlac. And then praise God because last June, the pastoral workers were encouraged to start 25 new worshiping groups. Ayan. And God blessed them with 81 new believers who were baptized on July 16, 2021. Another story, ito po, sa Assemblies of the Firstborn naman, 44 participants are mobilized to start new churches. Dito po sa AFB, they assigned their church planters in different city po o bayan ng Zambales. So gusto nilang masaturate ang buong Zambales, so they stationed their people sa ganung paraan. At pumirma po sila ng organizer's license agreement. So may ganun po in partnership to be able to use officially the resources. Next. Yan, sa Pangasinan, ito naman po yung generational mapping coaching tool na ginagamit nila to assess the health of their church. So 18 church workers and pastors from 4 churches with 3 OJT facilitators nag-undergo ng training. Next. Ito po yung bagong bukas na house church. It was started by a former bilanggo. Yan. So, si Brother Raymond Biagtan, isa siyang bilanggo na na-reach out po ng isang pastor sa Pangasinan. Na part din po ng ministry namin. And then, nagkaroon po siya ng heart to build a house church. So, from his testimony and his life, marami pong na-encourage. That's why he was able to plant a new church. And then may pangkabuhayan din po siya na ginagawa. So hindi lang niligtas ng Diyos ang kanyang buhay personally, spiritually, even financially. Kasi mahirap maghanap ng trabaho ang mga galing po sa kulungan. So natulungan po yun ng isa sa mga worker po namin. And then mamaya si Carlo, share din po niya yun. Next. Ito naman po ay sa Leyte, where 22 participants from 2 different churches ay nag-sign din po ng ng OLA. Next. Nangyari po lahat to during pandemic. Summer stream, ito po, noong pandemic, hindi nila na-apply yung coaching. So, nag-refresher course sila sa kanya-kanyang church. Sa Gamay. Next. Ganon din po ito. We trained young people to start campus ministry po nila sa Tarlac kahit online po. Ayan, dito si Elijah, si Juvie, kasama ko dyan. At ayan po, yung result. Next. Ganon din po yan, training, signing of OLA. Nandiyan din si Aldrin, alam niya yan. These are just some stories happening during pandemic. And praise God sa mga results na yan. So, I will call in Juvimir Ramos to present about GMCT or Generational Mapping Coaching Tool on how we assess the health of our churches or worshiping group. Juvie?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, and I am Juvimir Ramos from Born Again Christian Ministries Incorporated. So I am part of the Every Community for Christ Philippines as the training admin assistant and generational mapping coaching tool or GMCT encoder for campus stream po. So I will briefly share the overview of the generational mapping coaching tool. So the coaching relationship between the Church Multiplication Facilitator or CMF and Every Community for Christ Philippines church partners and their use of their generational mapping coaching tool have given us a more accurate statistics and records about the progress of our partners, mirroring their own church's growth and development. So this tool can be used once in every quarter po. So along with coaching church planters or church planting multipliers using the Let's Grow model, coaching model. So this is the model embedded in our basic coaching training. So the GMCT or the Generational Mapping Coaching Tool helps the church planter na ma-measure po yung health ng kanilang grupo, identifying both yung kanilang weaknesses and strength. So this tool helps the church planter na mag-formulate po ng mga goal and mag-take action steps to accomplish po that goal. So the GMCT also helps na mag-develop and improve the church planter's leadership skills and gifts. So not only that this tool measures the health of the group, but also assists them in growing into a healthy, fully functioning church to guide the group in planting daughter churches, and the daughter churches will also plant more daughter churches to the next generation and beyond. So finally po, the GMCT, Generational Mapping Coaching Tool, also helps the church planters identify the training that the group needs in a particular period, which the ECC-Ph may offer depending on the coaching conversation. So the GMCT is composed po of 4 sections. So the section 1 is, kung makikita po natin doon sa slide, is the group metrics. So the first row of boxes are record the number for each category in the box under each symbol. So let's look po at the bigger circle na nakikita po natin sa slide. So these are the functions we found in the book of Acts. Namely, yung prayer, yung fellowship, yung worship, apply Bible, evangelize, the Lord's Supper, give, baptize, and train workers. So makikita pa po natin ang mga details ng mga functions na ito doon po sa section 2 ng GMCT, which is the details section. na ipapakita po sa ating slide. So you can add notes in this space next to the symbol that provide more detail about the function of the group. So yung section 3 naman po is the goals section of the GMCT. So this is where we write a well-stated goal or goals in the top of the box, as well as yung mga action steps po natin that we would like to take. So yan po. So the section 4 naman is the next generation section. So ginagamit po natin tong section na to when the emerging groups, leaders, and areas are being explored, and kapag meron na pong mga daughter churches na na-establish. So use this space provided to coach the leader on how the next generation is being encouraged and developed. So that's the overview po of the GMCT, Generational Mapping Coaching Tool. And thank you po, and God bless everyone.
Thank you, Juby. So it's another training for the whole GMCT kasi yung training po is meron siyang practical application, like sa mismong training you can practice already paano po gamitin yung GMCT or how you can assess the health of the church. So let's proceed to special ministries. Carlo?
All right, so for our
Before that,
yes,
may tanong pala dito, are there soft copy materials being distributed? Actually po, we do have soft copies, but we only provide them if you undergo training. So any material we can give as long as you've gone through the training. Kasi ayaw po natin na ibigay lang yung material pero hindi alam pa paano po mas ma-maximize. So later po, if you want to know more about the training, meron po kaming nilagay na information. So sige Carlo, sorry for that interrupt.
All right, thank you, Ate Debbie. So for our special ministries naman po for local government unit, katulad nga nung sinabi ni Ate Debbie kanina, we have heard the story of Brother Raymond Biagtan, who is now pastoring in Mangaldan House Church. At isa po siya sa mga bunga ng special ministries efforts na initiated ng Every Community for Christ Philippines sa konteksto po ng mga ng ministry partnerships po. So like Jabez, God answered our prayers to enlarge our sphere of ministry. Kaya nga po, isa sa mga ministries ngayon din po ng Every Community for Christ Philippines ay ang special ministries. So isa sa mga sangay ng special ministries ay prison ministry. Ayan, so makikita niyo po dito na ang prison ministry, it started in Dagupan City here in Pangasinan by Pastor Nathan Carriazo. He is our National Special Ministry Coordinator. Ayan, ito po si Pastor Nathan kung nakikita niyo po dito sa kaliwa. So it's more than 3 years since we engaged ourselves in this ministry. We have trained 14 potential inmates on facilitating 6 Bible study question method using train and multiply materials, basic coaching training, and introduction and conduct of Holy Communion. So dahil nga po sa pandemic, Pastor Nathan wasn't able to go to jails or to prisons. So because we were able to train these potential inmates, they are the ones who are now conducting the Bible studies and at the same time facilitating the Holy Communions within their groups. Another isa pang sangay, another arm of this special ministry is Department of Justice. And again, it is Pastor Nathan who facilitates this ministry. So we are rendering our service in supervising our clients whom received their verdicts and were turned over in the office. So ito po yung sa parole and probation. So with parole and probation, parole condition and follow-up. We also conduct prayer, gospel sharing, and values are in the office. So ngayon po there are programs that are happening right now, especially those who are given the parole. So there are programs for them for aftercare programs for these people. Ayan. Another arm is the other government offices. We also have special ministries for the police, for the police. So our church multiplication facilitators and network partners are conducting moral recovery program with the Philippine National Police and other LGUs. So isa din po ito sa mga ginagawa po ng special ministries. Yan, maliban po sa mga pulis po natin, meron din po sa mga MRP Maritime and at the same time sa Municipal Agri Office po sa Pusurubio, Pangasinan. So that's our special ministry ng Every Community for Christ Philippines. So we will proceed naman po sa campus ministry.
Okay. Thank you, Carlo. Mahirap pala magsalita ng matagal, ano? Hindi na ako sanay because our training usually is interactive adult learning. So mostly the participants share their thoughts. We are only there to facilitate the training. So let me begin by presenting the multi-generation campus ministry. So we'll be discussing the why, the how, and the testimonies na i-share po ng mga kasama ko. The youth is the hope of the motherland. Ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. Lagi natin, dahil the one project tayo. Ayan. So we believe that the Christian youth is the true hope of our nation. Ayan. Of course, Jesus Christ. And then they have the power to reshape our nation's future. So why campus ministry? Bakit nga ba? Bakit nga ba nag-engage kami sa campus ministry? We believe that these are the generation na pwede naming ma-reach or i-reach out namin. The Generation Y, the Millennials, the Generation Z, yun yung mga age range nila, and the Generation Alpha. Yung generation na yan ay most of them ay digital native. Namulat ang kanilang mga mata na may digital platform na. According to Judges 2:10, all the people of that generation were gathered to their fathers in death, and another generation arose after them who did not know, recognize, or understand the Lord, nor even the work he had done for Israel. Hindi na nagmo-move yung PowerPoint. And we do not want this to happen in our generation. So, as a body, as an organization, as a church, as a generation, we do have a mission, and that mission is still the same, online and offline. The mission still continues, and that is to go and make disciples of all nations. That is our why. So when change is inevitable, we know that this mandate will remain the same until the coming of Jesus. How do we do campus ministry? In ECC Philippines, we value a disciple-making generation. We start them young. That's why we focus on children's ministry first, which Charlene Carino serves as the children ministry coordinator. Children are given opportunity to serve through leading prayers, worship lead, use puppetry, and other platforms to share Jesus' story among their peers. And in all this, Charlene mobilized teams to lead in different children's ministry departments. So meron pong 4 na department ang children's ministry. May puppetry, may curriculum, and others. As for me, ako po, as I serve as the National Campus Coordinator, I work with church multiplication facilitators, which are very present here this afternoon, in every location which ECC Philippines, the One Project, is present. I will share some strategies later on how we do campus ministry. Pero po, mas i-emphasize po ng mga church multiplication facilitator natin for campus in their testimony, how they do campus ministry and their particular focus. This year, we have recognized our young professional CMF, who is here with us today, Noreen Carino. She is a licensed professional teacher. She works every day, but she's reaching out to the young professionals who works with a core team, which the members come from different provinces as well, who plans and organize young professionals fellowship twice a month. In line with this, she coaches 3 potential leaders. Di ko lang alam kung nadagdagan na to. Di pa kami nakapag-usap. Who is starting to reach out among their colleagues. Ayan. Together, we can cater to the needs of every generation. So these are the platforms, the strategies we are using, the online platform. Yeah, we have a regular campus-wide prayer movement. We do this, may weekly po kami, may monthly at may quarterly prayer gathering. We also have coaching and checking in. We have one-on-one and with a team via Zoom or Messenger. Minsan personal kapag nakakabiyahe po kami or pinapadaan kami ng Pangasinan. Ang Aurora talaga ayaw kaming tanggapin. Pero po, pati sa summer tsaka sa Leyte, medyo struggle po kami ngayon. But before pandemic, we can do this face-to-face. We also do worshiping groups, Bible study group meeting via Google Meet, Zoom, and Messenger. Hindi ko alam kung pumasok yung ibang campus missionaries, but I invited them. So, isa po doon yung every Monday sila nag-meet kasi daw start of the week is start of the class. Ayan. So, meron din po kami in-adopt na training. I connected with the team of crew who did digital outreach. I connected with Jen Jimenez, Mia Fortu, and they trained our leaders sa digital outreach. And then later on, nagpaalam ako if we can tweak a little bit of the curriculum from crew and make it na interactive adult learning instead of a lecture type. Kasi lahat ng training po namin is interactive adult learning design siya. So, paano nangyari yon? Kasi may training din po how to design a curriculum. So, you can actually have one material and train and turn it into an interactive adult learning setup. So, meron din po kaming Counsel with Care. This is also from Train and Multiply booklets that ine-explore po namin just this year. So later on, mag-offer po ng training for this. But for now, puro lecture and seminar pa lang po regarding self-care, ganyan. Alam mo naman ng mga kabataan ngayon, medyo dadaan sa mga stress, anxiety, depression, ganyan. And we have a counselor na legit po. Yan, na legit, ayan, to help us sa mga ganitong bagay po. And then we also have local and international partnership. Kaya ko po kayo nakilala because ECC works well with different organizations like ito pong Converge, PCECCMN, the Campus Ministry Network, and the ACM. Ayan, yan po yung mga partners namin. We connect with them kung ano po yung resources na meron sila, if they have trainings. Kaya po nandito ako, kaya po nandito kami. Sa physical or face-to-face, wala po talagang bago sa mga ginagawa namin. Nag-iba lang talaga ng pamamaraan or way. Yan, Bible study, ganun pa din po. Sa mga kabataan, if they are neighbors, they can just gather together. May isa pa is, lalo na yung inaccessible ang internet, the person who has an access goes to that place to just share kung ano yung ano niya, natutunan niya. And then students who do modules together, may ganito din po kami instead of online. So nagkakaroon sila ng Bible study after they had group study. So different platform, but same principle, same mandate, same mission, and that is to go and make disciples. We also have a partnership po natin sa national. Meron po tayong pastors organization here in Tarlac, sa Aurora. Nag-include lang po ako dyan ng examples like sa Nazarene, where Girlie is connected with and his dad. Southern Baptist, Assemblies of the Firstborn. Ito po, mga partners po natin sila. And denomination-wide, like for example, it's a denomination, kaya hiniwalay ko sila because they fully embrace the strategy of ECC. So that's HIFBC and FECPI. So buong denomination, what they use is everything that we have, ginagamit ko ng denomination na ito. It's FECPI where I belong. Ayan, so nilagay ko lang ulit yan. Yung mga nakakausap na po natin, the Converge, the PCEC, the ACM, the crew. International, of course, the ECC International, Every Community for Christ International, and the One Mission Society. So, andito na ba ang unang magte-testimony on accountability? Wala pa ata siya. So, let's just skip that. I think next slide na tayo, Carlo. Sorry, banggitin ko lang yan. First, Angel Teresca on accountability and coaching. He's the Tarlac Campus CMF or the Church Multiplication Facilitator who works with the leaders here in Tarlac. And then Girly Dado on networks and organization. Carlo Selmo, inuunahan ko na. On partnership and pakvets. You will know kung ano po yung pakvets mamaya. Hindi po ito yung Ilocano dish. Next. Jasmine Gutierrez in Aurora. Ayan. Sige, next PowerPoint tayo, Carlo. Girl, ikaw na yung mag-start. Wala si Angel. Thank you so much.
Ayan, good afternoon po. Good afternoon everyone. Sana okay po yung audio ko kasi unstable daw yung connection ko. Ayun na nga, I am Girly Ann Mirdado and I am from Balanghiga, Eastern Samar. And I am a member of the Church of the Nazarene. Yan si Kuya ER, ka-denomination ko. Ayan, so short backstory lang. Last 2018, our local church here in Balanghiga officially partnered with ECC Philippines to fulfill the vision of saturation in Samar. And in the same year, I accepted the role of becoming the Associate Church Multiplication Facilitator for Samar Campus. And this year, wrong spelling, girly ko, charot. And this year, 2021, on last January, I have fully embraced the role as a campus CMF for Samar, campus CMF Church Multiplication Facilitator. So just like any other work or ministry, having a team would surely make it helpful for us to fulfill a vision. Tama po? So that's why when I was starting as an ACMF, my first goal was to form a team, which is a very challenging task to do. And I had a hard time actually for a person like me who struggles with building relationship in an intentional way. It was a lot of effort. You know, yung mga ano dyan, introvert, mga ganyan. But then I prayed for people, talk to them and share the vision, which is a church in every campus, in hopes that we could partner together in doing campus ministry. So it took us many months to take off as a stream or as a team. And to make the long story short, slowly, one by one, young leaders from different churches and denominations were getting in. They attended trainings and eventually volunteered to become training facilitators. And most of them are members of a youth organization, a youth ministry organization called SESEA. It's Southeastern Samar Christ-Centered Youth Alliance. We conducted trainings in partnership with this organization to help students in the local churches start their own small groups in their campus. This was the picture before pandemic happened. But when COVID-19 spread and restrictions were made, many of those small groups lost interest in meeting together. So lahat siguro tayo sa year 2020, it was a struggle for us. And sadly, some of the campus work volunteers took on a different path for some personal reasons. Siguro hindi yun yung para sa kanila, nilid sila ni Lord sa ibang ministry field. But praise God for the lives of two committed young leaders who continued with me praying for the ministry to move forward. So si si Danica at saka si Lawrence. So we did not give up because we do not want to miss the opportunity to witness and experience how God moves in our lives. We want to see us progress and multiply. And above all, we want to see lives of students and other young people embrace a personal relationship with Christ. And because we chose to continue in praying, in coaching, in training, and everything, our team is now growing again. So, na-realize namin that we have connections that will help us to expand and partner with them in the campus ministry. So, just this year, yung SESEA, yung nabanggit ko kanina na organization, Southeastern Summer Christ-Centered Youth Alliance elected their new set of officers, and lahat ng mga officers na yun ay mga estudyante. And it was an answered prayer for me because I'm one of those who were told by the Ministerial Association president, sabi niya, kayo yung magbe-mentor sa new council na to. So ayun, right now we have a monthly team coaching and prayer fellowship na naka-schedule every last Saturday of the month. So another connection that I have is the NYI, the Nazarene Youth International. So it is a privilege that I am the president of the District NYI Council here in Eastern Visayas ngayon. And I can say that sa leadership ko, my leadership is an opportunity for me to apply what I learned through coaching. So kino-coach po ako ng ECC. Ayan, si Ate Debbie po ang aking coach. And actually sa nakikita ko dito, yung coaching talaga, it's not a practice here sa district. I do not know with NYI from other districts, but dito hindi siya practiced. So that's where I have started leading the council. So sinimulan ko lang, dati isa lang yung kino-coach ko, and that was Lawrence. And at saka ngayon naman, yung whole council na. So plus the local NYA presidents that we are inviting to join us every first Monday of the month for coaching and fellowship. So as you can see, yung dating tatatlo lang kami na naiwan, tatlo lang kami, Danica, Lawrence, and I. Ngayon may mga kasama na kaming dalawang organizations. And both of these organizations may mga own unique structure, and I believe that both of them are able to contribute greatly sa campus ministry regardless of what programs they have, kung ano man yung mga activities nila. And we in ECC, our partnership with them is dynamic. So kung ano yung makikita natin na area wherein they needed help, that's where we put our support. So for example, sa SESEA, nalaman namin na kulang sila sa prayer movement. So that's why napag-usapan namin na magkaroon ng prayer fellowship, prayer gathering. And with the NYI naman, yung nga walang nagko-coach, ganun. So we started a team coaching, ganyan. So nakakatuwa lang isipin na kahit pandemic, even if we cannot go physically to campuses to minister, we have these organizations here na mostly led by students to collaborate with us. So ito po yung promise ko, promise namin as a CMF for Samar Campus. We will continue to meet them through coaching, fellowship, prayer activities, trainings, ganyan. And someday we hope that they will pass on this legacy to others as well, para masabi natin na darating yung panahon na lahat ng mga estudyante or lahat ng mga campuses na ay makakarinig ng gospel ni Jesus Christ. So until no campus or student is left, yun po yung goal natin. So thank you very much po. Good afternoon once again.
Thank you, Girly, sa iyong, for your testimony about how you use your influence, as a leader, as an officer as well sa inyong organization at sa mga network mo pa doon sa Samar. Ayan. And ngayon naman po, I will be giving my testimony po. This is about the partnership naman with Every Community for Christ Philippines. Dito naman po sa Pangasinan. Ang focus ko naman po dito ay sa saturation ng campuses here in Pangasinan. So, bago po ako magsisimula, ako po ay isang estudyante sa isang Bible school. Ang pangalan po ng school po namin ay Faith Bible College, kung saan doon po nag-graduate po si Ate Debbie. So, nasa second year na po ako ng pag-aaral ko sa Bible school. Pangalawa po, I am also a resident pastor here in our barangay. So my family and I started a church planting effort dito sa barangay po namin, wherein after 5 years, na-recognize na po ang house church po namin to be a fully functioning church po. And this is all because of the trainings na natanggap ko rin po from the ECC, kaya po naging fully functioning church. And I am, ako nga po yung resident pastor dito sa church na ito, which is Faith Fellowship Gilo. Pangatlo po, I am the team coach po. Meron po kaming organization dito sa San Carlos City, Pangasinan. We call our organization as Juan San Carlos Youth Ministry. This is the youth arm ng aming ministerial association, kung saan po I was appointed po. I have been appointed po to be the team coach ng 13 officers. So I've been meeting them for coaching and for partnerships as well. And then in a larger scope po for Pangasinan naman, para po sa province, ito naman po yung role ko to be the church multiplication facilitator for the saturation of campuses here in Pangasinan. So yung partnership po with the One Project, focusing on the saturation of campuses dito po sa Pangasinan, it revolves around in these key factors or roles. Ito po yung sinasabi po namin ni Ate Debbie kanina na PACVETS. So P stands for prayer, accountability, coaching, vision casting, encouragement, training, strategies, and we hope na lahat po na ito will all lead to stories of transformation sa mga buhay po ng mga estudyante, sa campuses, and even in the communities. So kaya po namin sinabi na PACVETS para po Pinoy na Pinoy, dahil po sa The One Project na Pinoy din. I would like to start po in terms here in Pangasinan. Ito po yung mga ginagawa po namin ng mga prayer efforts. Since nag-start nga po ang pandemic, ay bagamat limited po physically, pero pumupunta pa rin po kami sa mga lugar kung saan meron pong efforts ng prayer walks, prayer and breakfast. Ayan, dito po sa dalawang babang picture. Ito po ay prayer walk po ito sa capital ng capital ng Pangasinan. And ito naman po sa right lower picture po ay prayer breakfast po na ginaganap po namin once a month. Dito naman po sa lower upper part po sa left side, ang Bless Pangasinan. This is an online prayer gathering po ng buong Pangasinan, wherein meron po kaming organization dito sa Pangasinan na tinatawag po namin na CHAM. Under po ito ng ministerial organization po ng buong Pangasinan, which is PAMANA. And of course, ay patuloy rin po because of pandemic, it birth out po yung mga online prayer gatherings po na ginagawa po ng mga kabataan dito sa Pangasinan. Pangalawa po, for accountability, pagsamasamahin ko na po accountability, coaching, encouragement, ayan, makikita niyo po ako lahat dyan sa mga pictures na yan, present sa lahat ng na to. So, this three, accountability, coaching, and encouragement, can be provided separately or simultaneously. Pero most of the time po, accountability and encouragement are integrated during our coaching sessions. Pero these three are identified separately because of their vital importance to sustain the partnership. So yung accountability po through coaching, ayan, so makita niyo po dito, may one-on-one po na coaching, may team coaching po, ganyan, may visitation, lalo na po yung mga pastors po natin ngayon na nagkakasakit, we visit them. Coaching din po para po sa GMCT, ganyan. And then, accountability lang and encouragement sa mga pastors and leaders. And of course, ang maganda rin po actually na yung encouragement din po on my part as the Church Multiplication Facilitator sa Pangasinan, na nabibigyan din po ako ng opportunity for personal retreat. Ayun. Gusto ko pong i-emphasize yon, na may time din po kami to rest. Ayan, na nagbibigay din po sa amin ng encouragement. Okay. For the vision casting naman po, we keep on sharing the vision of saturation, hindi lamang po sa communities but also in the campuses. So whenever po may opportunities, we were invited po sa mga locations po dito sa Pangasinan, like in Santa Barbara, Binalonan. I think kung nandito pa si Jen Rev, ayun, nandun kami sa Binalonan nung last month, sa Zion Church, ayan, sa Pusurubio, sa Dasol, and even in Mangaldan and some other places po dito sa Pangasinan. As long as okay po na mag face-to-face gatherings, we take the opportunity to really cast the vision of saturation, of partnership and collaboration po, for the saturation, of course, of campuses. And for the training naman po, ayan, during this pandemic, dahil nga po mga ibang mga municipalities and cities ay okay po sila for face-to-face. Ayan, so we also conducted trainings po dito in the stream of Pangasinan campus, kung saan karamihan po actually ng mga trainings namin dito sa Pangasinan, collaboration of communities and campuses, karamihan po talaga na dumadalo bilang mga participants ay mga nasa campus, mga student leaders po, which is nakakatuwa po at nakakataba ng puso dahil nga po bilang as me representing the Pangasinan campus, masaya po ako na makita that a lot of many young people, student leaders and campus missionaries nowadays ay natitrain po sila, at the same time na mobilize po sila for planting churches, for planting student churches in their own communities. Ayan, for the strategies naman po, ayan, ito na po yung last na key factor. Dahil nga po we are trying to maximize our online platforms. Kaya recently lang po nung August 30, since we celebrated National Heroes Day sa buwan ng August, ay nagse-celebrate po kami ng Hero Makers. Ang vision po na ito ay Campus Invasion. So itong nakaraang August lamang po ay nag-celebrate po kami. This is our 4th year na pagse-celebrate po ng Campus Invasion. Ayan. At praise God po for approximately 170 young people coming from different places in Pangasinan and from other provinces as well join this celebration. And then ito din po yung hindi po namin tinatanggal na kultura po namin dito sa Pangasinan. We do Bible Olympics every January since nagse-celebrate po tayo ng National Bible Month. And at the same time po, every November 1, araw ng mga patay, sabi nila. Pero para po sa amin, ito ay araw ng mga buhay, para sa mga buhay. We conduct Evangelism Day on November 1. Pumupunta po kami sa mga sementeryo. Pumupunta po kami sa mga public places like plaza, malls, ayan, sa mga sementeryo. Ito po ay pre-pandemic po ito Ayan. Pero this coming November 1 po, challenge ko po actually ang mga campus missionaries po natin at mga leaders po namin dito sa Pangasinan that we can still evangelize through online platforms, through online sa mga social medias po namin. Ayan. And since nabanggit ko naman po sa inyo that I am a student of Bible College, at nung nakaraang September 7 po, nagkaroon po kami ng webinar. Ito po ay tinatawag na Tamang Kandidato. So it's a free webinar po. We invited, ang focus po namin actually dito ay mga kabataan. So we invited young people to join us as we have this Tamang Kandidato webinar na pinangungunahan po ito ng bawat isang mahalagang movement team. Kasama po nila dito si former Chief Justice Sereno, CJ Sereno. Ayan. Dito po napag-usapan nga po yung maganda po ng na medyo na pag-usapan po actually yung ano po natin, yung preamble po natin at it is stated po sa ating constitution. At last week po, nagkaroon naman po kami ng interview kay Pastor Vince Santiago. Pastor Vince Santiago is the first trans woman na transform ni Lord. at ngayon ay nagpapastor na po. Ayan, mula sa pagiging trans woman ay ngayon ay isang transform na tao at pastor po siya ngayon at nagkaroon po kami ng interview sa kanila and we also invited a lot of leaders and young people as well para po marinig yung kwento po ni Pastor Vince kung paano po siya tinawag at kung paano po siya ngayon nag-minister sa mga LGBTQ communities dahil yun po yung focus po niya ngayon. So, ito po yung mga klase ng strategies po na
Submit.
sa spiritual activities ay ini-integrate din po namin ang like sa election, like sa mga ganito po that na how we can reach out more sa mga iba pa pong communities po.
Thank you, Carlo. May we call in Miss Jasmine? Siya po yung last na mag-share.
Sorry, was that me?
Ayan, so good afternoon po sa bawat isa. Ayan, I'm Jasmine Gutierrez. I'm Campus ACMF of Aurora Province from October 2020 hanggang March of 2021. So I became CMF last April up to present. As a Campus CMF, we work alongside churches, organizations, and associations in our area in order to saturate the schools, specifically targeting students of that particular area with the gospel. Community CMF differs in the scope of work since they are more focused on the community. They are more focused on community as whole, working hand in hand with other churches and organizations while we focus more than on campus. So I believe it was God's plan that I become a campus CMF. That is why that I did not hesitate to accept this role. It has always been my desire to serve Him by preaching the gospel and making disciples, specifically among the youth. So, and as a campus CMF, we can saturate all the campuses in our province with the gospel. So it was not easy starting off as campus CMF, as I do not have an idea where I should start. So fortunately, some pastors, organizations in Aurora have a good relationship and they make an impact in the community, which opens an opportunity for campus ministries. So with the help of Pastor Jerry Dayot, our district CMF, and Pastor Herbert Ampatin and Pastor Edwin Amansek, so we are who both community CMF, I introduced to some students, volunteers around the province who later are become our core team. So these pastors are include in the vision. These pastors also include the vision for campus saturation every time they go and conduct a training like that and vision casting as well. And isang example din po, Pastor Jerry, our district CMF, yung pinupuntahan po nila na isang lugar, ayan, makikita po natin, yung tinatawid nilang ilog, ayan, kasama po yung mga kabataan niya, yung mga youth, para lang ma-reach out yung mga kabataan, yung doon sa school po, yung grade school, dyan sa Sugit, yan po ay sa Maria Aurora. So, yung passion po talaga nila to reach out the young people na sinimulan lang po nila sa simpleng feeding program and yung giving gift, and then nagkaroon din po sila ng yung baseball, yung pag-fellowship, ginamit nila yung paglalaro para lang magkaroon ng fellowship dun sa school, and then nagkaroon ng Bible study and DBVS hanggang sa na-reach out po yung mga kabataan doon, yung mga students, and hanggang sa natulungan din po yung community. Ginamit ng Panginoon yung mga kabataan doon para ma-reach out yung community. So, ganun po kalaki yung impact na nangyari doon sa Aurora, yung mga kabataan to campus to community. So, nakakatuwa po na makita kung paano nagkaroon ng campus and community ministry po doon. So, yun lamang po. Maraming salamat po. To God be the glory. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Miss Jess. Ayan. So, before we end our presentation, I would just like to acknowledge yung mga pumasok na pong kasama namin. Si Christine as our prayer coordinator ng campus. Siya po yung nagmo-mobilize ng mga prayer mobilizers natin from different provinces na na-mention kanina. And then si Angel Floresca, pumasok na po siya. Christine is a full-time teacher. Angel is a full-time engineer. Nag-work po siya. Yan sila para makilala niyo po sila. Si Angel, ayan, sana hindi siya napatalsik ni Zoom. Okay, so si Angel po ay sa CMS naman ng Tarlac. He's an engineer, kagagaling niya sa trabaho. So, hindi na po namin sila pag-share yun because of the lack of time. But we would like to post in our, ito pong ating information. If you would like to know more about ECC Philippines and what we're doing, please email us, ECC-Ph, in info@ecc.ph. Kung training po ang concern nyo, training at ECC-Ph. At kung campus naman, campus at ECC-Ph. So, ayan po. I think may mga questions tayo sa chat, pero hindi ko alam paano gagawin ito ng ating MC. Thank you po for listening to our presentation. To God be the glory.
Okay, thank you, Miss Devi. At ang buong ECC. Sige, palakpakan po natin si Lord sa life nila. Ayan, talaga mapapawaw ka talaga sa sipag nila. Sabi ko, buti nakakapag-love life pa itong mga to. No? Sobrang sipag niyo po. Talaga sobrang nakatawa kayo. Ayan. Nakaka-inspire po no, yung inyong commitment, dedication, yung devotion nyo kay Lord. Talagang slow clap po kami doon. Wow. Talagang wow. No? Sige po, no, na may mga question po ba tayo? Sige, habang nag-iisip po yung iba ng question, basahin po natin yung question na chinat po katulad ni Pastor Alvan. Sabi po ni Pastor Alvan, what common reaction do you get when evangelizing on All Souls Day? Curious lang daw. Si Carlo yata sasagot nito no?
Yes.
Nagkaroon ako ng idea doon. Carlo, nagkaroon ako ng idea doon. Oo nga, no? Sabi ko, sa sementeryo nga, no, wala nag-evangelize.
Oo, common reaction na natatanggap namin. Una, sa sa Body of Christ muna sa San Carlos City. Talagang challenged talaga sila kasi nag-umpisa lang kami, a few churches lang ang involved Parang 3 to 4 churches or 5, mga ganon ang involved dati. So talagang inumpisahan namin yung kultura na ganon. And then, nung mga sumunod na mga taon, ito bago pandemic talaga, nung mga sumunod na taon, nagsilabasan na yung kanya-kanyang diskarte ng mga churches. So, yung iba talagang nag-grupo, pumupunta sa sementeryo, ganon. Yung iba naman, since ang kanilang church ay malapit sa palengke, so nagpapa-film showing sila. Nagpapa-film showing sila nung araw na yon, nung yun nga, undas, ganon nga, no? So, ganon, talagang na-challenge ang Body of Christ nung panahon na yon. Kaya, naging kultura din talaga na every November 1 ay we really schedule our evangelism day. Tapos sa mga tao naman na ine-evangelize namin, hindi naman siya gulatan kasi may strategy pa rin na ginagawa Hindi agad-agad. Magandang hapon po, may oras po ba kayo? Mag-share lang po kami ng Word of God. Hindi naman Wait.
Okay, go. Kuya Carlo.
Ayun. So, hindi naman siya ganun kaagad. Ang ginagawa namin kasi ay nakikipagkwentuhan muna kami. Ganon, sino yung nakalibing po dito? Ano pong nangyari? Paano po sila namatay? Ganon. Yung we build relationship muna dun sa mga tao habang nagpapadasal sila, ganon, habang may mga ibang mga mga young people nga nagdadala ng mga kandila, gano'n, nag-offer ng mga bulaklak, gano'n. O kaya naman may dalang gitara para kakanta, mga ganun ba na ano, hindi naman yung kantahan yung patay, pero yung mag-offer ng mag-offer
Oo.
ng songs, gano'n, mag-offer ng songs sa
Mm.
Panginoon, gano'n na ano. So, naging strategic siya at naging okay din yung acceptance ng mga tao. Though tinitignan talaga kami kasi that is a rare na makita ng mga tao, pero since 3 years namin yung ginagawa, talagang ano, siguro nasanay na rin yung mga tao doon sa amin na nagbibigay din kami ng tracts, gano'n, yung mga binibigay natin ano ng mga tracts, gano'n. So ang maganda pa doon, isa sa mga target din namin, hindi lang ma-evangelize kung hindi ma-follow up din yung mga na-evangelize. So talagang fina-follow up namin sila. Hindi yung point na iiwan na lang, kung hindi fina-follow up namin sila, which is nagkakaroon tayo ng mga family Bible study na re-reach out natin yung pamilya, ganon. At actually ako, meron din akong mga na hawakan na disciple because of this kind of evangelism. So masasabi namin na this kind of strategy talaga is very effective sa konteksto namin dito sa Pangasinan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Kuya Carlo. Dan, mga masasanay ka dyan mag-ghosting, no? Sa ano? Okay, thank you Carlo for sharing that. May tanong nag-hands up si ano si Ate Debbie.
Gusto kong sagutin yung tanong ni ER. Although
Okay po.
sinagot na ni Carlo.
Sige po. Yung about sa communion.
Let's
Communion
see.
ba?
Ayan. Can anyone conduct communion after receiving training? Yes and no. Bakit yes and no ang sagot ko? First, because iba-iba tayo ng distinctives sa church. We have different distinctives. May iba, they don't allow women to conduct any ritual. Merong iba, they do not allow lay leaders to conduct communion. So it's still up to the church how they will allow this process. But yes, also because after the training, because we have this booklet about the Lord's Supper, and it's also stated there the importance, what is the Lord's Supper, the importance and everything. So a person can actually conduct a Lord's Supper if he has gone through the training. So yes and no.
Okay. Ano yan? Coach Debbie, mag-ask ka ba sa kanila ng permission or i-offer mo sa kanila?
Because sila yung mag-a-apply. Because sila yung mag-a-apply, it's in their discretion.
Okay, thank you.
So we do not want to force because we are in partnership eh. So may kanya-kanyang uniqueness yung mga church. We do not want to force anything na hindi nila kailangan. Sabi nga namin, we partner only sa mga kailangan ng church or organization mo. Yes, you're welcome, ER. Yes, ang daming Debbie. Carlo!
Apat, be fruitful and multiply. Ayan. Sige po. No, thank you for answering that. Miss Debbie. Meron pa po bang question? Any question? Any comments? Violent reactions? Ayan. Ako pwede po ako magtanong. Tanong po ako. No, ano yung strategies na pinagkaiba po ng ginawa ninyo through online and offline? Kasi sa offline, sa physical meetups with youth or especially sa campus, may ginagawa na kayo. Tapos ano yung adjustment na ginawa ninyo para magawa po ninyo yung online campus ministry po? Ano
Who would
yung
you like to
adjustment?
answer?
Sino po yung gustong sumagot?
Simulan ko muna kasi pasa ko sa kanila. Na-mention ko na kanina actually that we have partnered or asked the crew to help us jumpstart our digital outreach. So the materials they have shared with us, ginamit namin yon initially, but then we have seen na hindi sa lahat ng context ay applicable siya. Because hindi lahat nakaka-access sa internet. Katulad ng sabi ko, hindi naman sa city lahat ng mga estudyante merong mga nasa probinsya or kabundukan na wala namang access. So, it's still the context. Training lang namin na maging equipped sila both online and offline. Pero hindi namin ipopush kung hindi talaga kaya. But we have discovered that nung ina-apply na namin yung sa online strategy. So anyone else who would like to share from the team? Sino pa yung may idea?
Okay, thank you po. Ay, gusto pa po bang sumagot? Okay, wala na po, no? Okay, thank you po, Team ECC. Meron pa po ba kayong questions sa mga iba po dyan? Any questions? Any comments? Clarity? Ayan, wala na po. Okay. Ayan, wala na po, no? Sir Alvan, may additional ka po? Okay, wala na. Sige po, no? Kung wala na pong question and additional, no? Tatawagin ko na po si Pastor Herman. Okay? Pastor Herman?
Uy, ito talaga parang bigla-bigla dito ah.
Sabi na Pastor Alvan, ikaw na daw eh.
Alright. Hello sa lahat ng mga Debbie dyan. Wala na pala, no? Parang isang Debbie na lang pala. Alright. At thank you, no? Palakpakan natin ulit ang ECC. It's wonderful to hear. Parang, nakaka-challenge eh, no? Parang yung older presentation, sobrang ganda. Pwede ba i-borrow lahat ng PowerPoint tapos palitan na lang namin ang pangalan namin? Di ba? Para kunwari magaling din kami. Parang it was really good. So well thought out. Salamat. It's a big challenge, especially sa maraming groups na coming from denominational lines. Oh, dami din Carlo ah. Magaling talaga mag-multiply ang ECC. Every camera for Christ. All right. Sige. I think what I just want to bring in, because I know medyo rin yung time natin ngayon, but I'm just really encouraged na parang ganito natin ng mga presentation. We get to also parang benchmark yung mga grupo natin, di ba? Parang kung ganun yung pagka-present nila, it also kind of like encourages us to how do we also really formulate our plans, our ang mga ministries natin. So that's actually from my side, no? And of course, ang maganda din dyan is yung mga partnerships that we can have with you. So parang ako wala akong question kasi parang sa akin, it's more of like rather than presenting my question here, I probably just want to go directly kay Debbie and to some of you that we already know. Tapos doon na lang talaga ilatag, no? And to perhaps even invite you guys, may mga gawain din tayo sa side namin. So parang we can work together, collaborate together, and that's the wonderful thing about what we are having here every month with global lead with Converge. All right. Just a quick mga updates lang natin and the things that we were having recently. Sa restorations, we are now for some of you who do not know what restoration is, it's one of our initiatives, Converge International, na parang pag-isahin natin yung mga babae at lalaki na parang ano ba yung biblical understanding doon sa ministry ng women and men and leaders ba, so parang this is a powerful tool, especially sa mga kabataan ng mga leaders, because in the next 10 years you probably will be making strides na hindi lang sa mga kabataan pero doon pa sa mga iba-iba pang programs that we are having, no? At so katatapos lang namin magawa ng training, restorations with SIM, is a group, ilang international group, and mayroong mga taga-Africa that was there. And so at this point in time, we're still really waiting from Open Doors Philippines. They will assign ang isang tao na mag-lead sa atin sa restorations. But as long matapos yan, we will go ahead and start doing that. As for we already have a group, and kung sa inyo, like for example, sa ECC, we have our young theologians, and we have a group there. And right now, nandyan umalis lang kasi, may gawain kasi si Steven. And actually, Aaron is also in that group, and these are 13 to 19 years old. Now, we'd like them to be trained, to be thinking, to make theologies as young as high school, and as young as teenagers pa. Particularly, mga areas na nagmamatter talaga sa mga kabataan natin. For example, mga like environment, things that really are concerned din sa mga communities natin ngayon. And so those are things that we would like them as young people to be already thinking out loud. They're gamitin yung mga platforms where they can speak out to other young people. Now, that's number 2. Bago lang din, like 2 weeks ago, last week, magkakaroon din tayo ng conversations with Mark Andreson doon sa kanyang tawag niya na Hive. And we had some of you joining us last week. And yun, patuloy din yung gawain natin dyan. Ang ginagawa din sa Hive, it's inviting you kung ano ba yung mga programs that you're having, and how can Mark, sa tools niya, makakatulong din doon sa gawain nyo. Particularly, like for example, Debbie, they have those wonderful tools. You see, Mark is also having that. And paano ba yung parang ikaw mismo ang gagawa ng mga materials para sa grupo nyo. Okay, so that's also one of the initiatives that we've been having. There's one more actually announcement I'd like to make, but since Colin is already here, we would like to do something of a regional or like a national assessment also. And I just received an email niya kaninang umaga, and I really wanted to show a short clip of the video, but since Colin is already here, I'd rather have him, introduce what it is to us. And for some of you who do not know, Colin is our Kibuloy of Converge. Okay, no. Do you know Kibuloy?
I have no idea what you just said. I hope it was nice.
He's the Jesus Christ of the Philippines. Right. So,
guys, let me just say, first of all, I look at this screen, and what we're dreaming of in Converge is to see a group of younger leaders, women and men together, leading for their nations, then coming together to lead for the world. And you are that. And it's just wonderful. You are that. And I keep saying every time I come on this call that the Philippines is leading in this in so many ways. And we are serious about wanting, by the way, to have a global review of youth ministry in the Philippines. I bring global leaders of big movements together, movements like Youth of Christ, One Hope, all these movements. And we're going to talk about this in January, with the possibility of bringing all the world's youth leading community to the Philippines in end of next year or the beginning of the year after. There's so many things you're doing. I was talking to the leaders of Growing Leaders the other day, and they're also, I'm not sure if they're on this call, but also focusing on the Philippines. And you're developing our soul care strategy for the globe. You're developing our young theologians strategy. And that is so significant because the new leader of the Theological Commission of the World Evangelical Alliance is a young Filipino. So again, to have this develop where you are is great. Aaron, at some point, I'd love to talk to you about how we share what your journey with the wider globe. And perhaps what we can do is have a call with some of your younger leaders that we can record and shoot a short video. So if you can find out for me just which of those younger leaders might be willing to do that, then we can have a call, we can talk about what you're doing and help other nations follow your lead on that. What Herman is talking about, I would love to do with you guys. I'm just going to post the video that Herman was talking about in the chat. As I do, before I click send, can you be careful with this? This is not a public document. It's not a public video. But the reason I want to share it with you is that it was a pilot we have done with key leaders in Australia and New Zealand. And what I'd like you to do, you'll be interested in it. It's fascinating viewing because it will show you what key leaders are thinking about next gen in Australia and New Zealand. I would love to do a similar thing with Herman and some of you for the Philippines. And what we are looking to do is to build a video library, nation by nation across the world, of what the key leaders in those nations are thinking. Then what we would like to do is, these are conversation starters. And what the Australians and Kiwis are doing is there's 6 of those leaders on this call. They will then share it with a wider group, and the wider group will input into this conversation. And by the time we finish the conversation, we will shoot another video. And this one won't be a conversation starter. It will be a conversation response. And it will say, this is what we, as the Philippines youth work community, are sensing God needs to do within our nation to reach, disciple, and empower this generation. And these are our ways forward. What that will enable me to do, and Herman and the rest of the other senior leaders on this call, is go to the key leaders in the Philippines and the key leaders across the globe and say, look, this is what the folks who know are saying. How do we serve and support them? So if you're interested, have a look at that video. And if you're interested in being a part of that, can you tell Herman that? And then I'll liaise with Herman, and we'll see what we can do. Some of you might have lots of thoughts and might be shy because of your English. Can I encourage you not to be shy, because there are various ways we can get around that. You can prepare some thoughts written out and we can include those in it. We could even just translate. So please, and if you are younger, and particularly if you are female, do not be shy. We need to hear your voice. So this isn't for wise old men. This is actually for anyone who's praying and loving Jesus, loving young people. We need to hear your voice. So that's really important. 2 other quick things, Herman, if I may. 2 big conversations going on at the moment globally, which you may want to be a part of. One is about the climate emergency. Those of you who follow this, there's a big global event coming up in a few weeks' time called COP26. I will be there at COP26, and we are launching a number of initiatives around the Christian response, youth Christian response to the climate emergency. If you or anyone in your networks are passionate about this, there's some really interesting things developing here. Again, tell Herman, and Herman will put you in touch with me, because we need you, and it would be great to work with you on that. The other thing going on, by the way, is something called World Food Day. Again, if this is of interest to some of you, that again, you're passionate about compassion, about reaching out to a needy world with a gospel which is practical as well as words, and hunger in particular is something of interest to you that God's laid on your heart, can you let me know? Because I would like to introduce you to the leaders globally in that space, and there's some really important things going on. So if either of those 2 things are of interest to you, let me know, and I can follow up with that. World Food Day. There you go, Herman. You're on the case. That's amazing. Thank you. Bless you.
All right, thank you, Colin. And so we are indeed connected not only here nationally, but we are really connected also really internationally. Primarily, I have been, through the connections we've had here in Converge. There are so many things that we are able to get help from one another. Right now, CER, he's leaving. He's also meeting with another friend, but that's really actually because of Converge. he's meeting one youth leader in his area, and there has been a wonderful partnership and working together. And let's continue on building on this now, because we know that I tried to find a document that I was already able to write down. But I think there are like 20 million students all over the Philippines now, if I'm not wrong. And like one group, ECC cannot reach that. Like Nazarene could not do the work. We need one another. And so my encouragement is that we work together so that we can build the kingdom of God in the lives of every young people, every youth in the Philippines. Okay, and perhaps even all across Asia. All right. And so thank you, Debbie. Once again, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. And so yung mga sinabi ni Colin kanina regarding environment, that was COP26, Colin, right? COP26.
Yes, COP26 is the big gathering of the main leaders across the globe.
That's in Glasgow.
I don't know whether your president will be there, to be honest with you. Probably not.
Yeah. So, but if your young people are into that, let us know, and then we can, that'll be a wonderful opportunity for you to also take leadership in that area. So, pag gusto niyo yan program, do let us know, and then we can connect you with them. All right, Alvan or sino ba? Eric?
Yeah, nothing more. We are good. So,
wait pala. Okay, thank you so much, Pastor Herman, and thank you so much, Sir Colin. Okay, wala na po ba tayong may dadagdag? Ayan, kung wala na po, no, na last word from Pastor Alvan bago niya po i-close sa prayer.
No, just want to say thank you. I do know time is short, but do connect through our messenger groups. We're on Discord. And, if you want to know more, you can find a way to get to Debbie and Carlo and their team. So, ayan lang po. And again, it's been great, guys, from ECC. Thank you so much for what you do. God really bless you. Okay, let me just close in prayer for our time here. Lord God, we thank you for just how amazing you are. You're working in ways that we don't know, and it's just great to hear this testimony once again of one of the ways you are working here in the Philippines, even in the midst of the pandemic. And I continue to pray you bless these leaders, use them mightily for your name's sake, and raise up an entire generation, Lord God, who would take it in, bring the good news of the gospel of your kingdom to all the world in ways that we don't even know right now. So we just pray while we're still here, you continue to use us to relate and build up one another, even as we see the day approach. So that I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay.